So first thing we're going to need to do is open up the strategy builder. So if you're looking at your control panel, go to New, Strategy Builder. What we're going to build today is a simple EMA crossover system for Renko using a simple stop near the latest swing high or low, and then we'll use EMA for exits as well. So we will only exit if we get EMA crossovers, we will only enter if we get EMA crossovers, and we will exit. We will also have a stop loss to control the downside as well. So first, we will call this, we need to name this something, so go ahead and just hit next. You can follow along as well. We'll go Renko EMA cross. And we'll go description, the strategy uses the 20/50 EMA to enter and exits trades based on Renko candles. Okay, go next. So then we'll hit next. We're going to calculate this on bar close. We're going to put 2 ticks of slippage in there. Exit on session close 3600. These are just standard things that I do to protect myself. So 3600 seconds will make sure we exit on the cash close an hour before. I always put 2 ticks of slippage in there just as a minimum. If you're backtesting different tickers, you can obviously increase that or decrease that, but in general it's a good idea to have that on there. And if you wanted, you could do trace orders and all that. We don't need to for this, but these are some different options you can do. These will be like in your state defaults. So go next. This is where you would enter, you would add a secondary data series. So for instance, if you wanted a 1 second series or a tick series or something like that, you could do that here. We won't need to do that for this strategy today, but that is what the additional data field is for. This is where we will create our variables, where we will track different things. So what we're going to do today is we need to track the high and the low to set our stops. So let's go ahead and add recent high, and that's going to be a double. So a double will track price, a bool is a true or false statement, a string is words, an int is a solid number, and then time is obviously time, but we're going to do this as a double. Recent high, we'll set that as default 1, and then we're going to go recent low, and we're going to set that as a double, default 1. And now we have our variables where we can use these to set our stop losses, and we will assign those later in this. So next we're going to create our conditions for entries and exits. That'll hit next. We're going to want to use an EMA crossover of 20 and 50. So we can go ahead and add our EMAs here by hitting, we're going to click add. We're going to go to indicator. I'm going to scroll down and find EMA. And we'll put that here. We could also use an SMA or whatever you wanted. So we want an EMA of 20 cross above another EMA, and we're going to scroll down and put the period of 50. This is going to be the length, and so default series is going to be using the main Renko series, and you can hit OK. So what this is doing now is if the 20 EMA crosses above the 50 EMA, we are going to do an order management and enter long. And we'll just label that long 1. Default quantity will be whatever the default quantity is. And that is our long entry. So now we need to create a short entry. So we can either right click and duplicate this, or we can hit another plus to create a second set. I'm just going to create a duplicate, because then we can go ahead and edit this up here. We already got our 20 and 50, so instead of cross above, we want cross below. And instead of entering long, we want to enter short. And we're going to call that short 1. So now we have our long and short system. So next we want to assign our variables, which will be back here, our recent high and recent low. So we want if price, trying to think about this one. Recent high equals, I think it's a max we want to find. Max right here. Let's go with the last 10 bars. Well, we'll say 5. Let's see here. So that will look for that. I haven't actually done the high and low in the strategy builder, but oh, I know what we can do. We can have if close is less than max 5 bars ago, then we will have our variable set recent high to max 5 bars ago. There we go. So what this is going to do is it's going to say if our close is below our recent high will be the high of the last 5 bars. So then what we can do is use that to set our stop. So we'll duplicate this in another tab. We don't need this one, so I'm just going to exit that one. So then we're going to edit this and say if close is greater than the min 5 bars ago, we will set the recent low to the min. There we go. 5 bars ago. Okay. So now we have the high and the low. We can go ahead and set our stops. So if stop loss from entry signal long 1 mode ticks value set user variables recent low. So this will put our recent low, we want price actually, that's going to put it as a price. So there is our stop loss for our long, and we're going to add another stop loss for our short from entry single short 1. We're going to set price value set user variables recent low. That's it. We just created an EMA crossover strategy for this. So it looks like they also in the strategy, yeah. Yes, correct. Good catch. Sorry. Recent high. I believe they also, let's see here. So entry rules are 20 EMA has made a crossover the 50. Price is trading above the 20 and 50. Okay. So we need to go back and change our conditions here for our long. So we need to have close greater than our 20 EMA and our 50 EMA. So 20, we can do that as our 50. So I'm just trying to create the strategy that I posted in the chat. I got that one from the Everything Renko strategy share. So we're just creating the simple EMA Renko crossover. Trying to get it as close as possible to what they had, and we're going to see if it is profitable. So let's go ahead and 50 greater than 20 and 50. So look for support and resistance near the moving average crossover. Well, we can't do that. Buy when the price dips to this level, and 20 is above. 20 is still above 50 EMA. Place the stops, the close swing low. Target the previous peak, exit partially, and continue to trail your stops. So this looks like it is entering twice, and it is using either a crossover or a trailing stop. So we can actually then do 2. So we'll go enter long, and label that long 2. We will then have to, okay. All right, let's see here. So we're just going to make a simple version of this. It looks like you can get a little bit more advanced about, but okay. So then we want to have 2 shorts as well for this. Short 2. And then we want to have the price close less than 20 and the 50 EMA. EMA. All right. Okay, so we have our 2 entry conditions there. We have our stops. And then what we'll want to do is we'll put a, now most people use a trailing stop. I actually like the parabolic stop, so I'm going to make a little tweak to this, and we're going to make a parabolic stop. So we're 0.1, 0.2, 0.02 from entry signal long 2, ticks value 100. So we will add a parabolic stop to long 2, and we will add a parabolic stop as well. The same exact. Now you may not know what these default values are usually. I do play around with parabolic stops quite often, so short 2 ticks 100. Okay, so now we have our secondary entry using a parabolic stop, and we don't need to set a price target for that. That'll just do its thing. There are 2 different things we could do with the conditions and actions. If we don't want it to flip trades, we could have strategy market position equals, where's market position? Here we go. Flat market position. Current market position equals flat. There we go. So this will make it so you have to be flat to enter the market. So do the same thing over here. Strategy, current market position equals strategy, market position flat. And then we want to create some exit conditions here as well. So we'll do a new one here, and we want if strategy current market position equals long and indicator the 20 EMA cross below 50 EMA. So we gotta make sure this is 20. This is 50. And I want to make it where my unrealized profit and loss is greater than or equal to miscellaneous numeric value, we'll say 200. So that's going to make it so I have to be at least $200 in profit for it to exit based on an EMA crossover. I don't want it exiting unless it hits a stop loss or it's going to make me money. So then we'll go order management, exit long position from entry signal long 1, EMA long 1 exit. And we're going to have it where the other one doesn't need to do that because that's just a parabolic stop. So then we're going to duplicate this in new tab and do it for the shorts. So we want to change this to short. Change this to a cross above. Profit and loss stays the same. We just exit this or change this to short 1. EMA short 1 exit. Okay. Just checking the strategy here. Looks like that is it. So you can view your code by hitting view your code. This will not unlock it, but we can go through. So this is a good idea. If you don't know how to code something and you want to add something in, you can use the strategy builder. Let's say you have a private indicator, you're not sure how to reference a plot. You can use the strategy indicator or strategy builder to reference the plot for you and then go and copy the code into your custom strategy. So this will add everything in there. So you can see here is adding my EMA 1 and 2, recent high and low variables, our private min and max. You can see here that we have our stop losses based on our recent low and high here. We have our parabolic stops. We have our entry conditions here for our 2 longs, our exit conditions here for our 2 shorts. And then here are our conditions for exiting longs if we have crossovers. And then here's where it sets our variables. So let's go ahead and compile this. So we're going to compile it and we're going to go test it, see if it does anything. If you wanted to edit the code yourself and then add stuff and subtract stuff for it, you will need to unlock the code, but that means you cannot go back into the strategy builder and change it. If you don't unlock the code, you can go back anytime in the strategy builder and change stuff in the strategy builder. So only unlock the code if you know you're done with the strategy builder and go from there. So let's open up a chart. Let's go with a NQ. We'll use Better Renko. We'll just do a 30 brick just for simplicity. We'll do 10 days. So this is just going to test real quick if it's been profitable the last 10 days, and we'll go from there. So let's open this up. Renko charts use tick data, so this might take a second. Looks like I traded a lot today. So let's go ahead and hit the strategy. Let's go find what we called it. I believe we named it Renko EMA cross. Let's add that. And we don't have any variables because we didn't add any profit targets or anything. It's all self-adjusting. Let's go ahead and hit apply and see if we got any trades. Hey, look at that. All right, so we got some trades here. You could see, we could check here to see if our stop losses are working. I don't think the stop losses are working. So let's go back in the code, the strategy builder, stops. Let's just, for simplicity, change this to 100 ticks. We'll just make it simple. Also, I believe we need to allow ourselves 2 entries per direction, unique entries. So let's go ahead and do that. See, it's only taking 1 entry, so let's compile that. 100 ticks on NQ would be 500 bucks, just FYI. So we're doing a $500 stop. Okay, we can go back to the chart and reload Ninjascript. There we go. Now we got ourselves something. Still, I'm only seeing 1 entry. Oh, that's because I have to change it in here too. Let's remove it and re-add it. Renko EMA cross, enabled, apply. There we go. Okay, now we got our 2 entries here. You can see the parabolic stop and our normal exit. Don't know if the long exit on the EMA crossover is working. It's definitely not profitable yet. All right, so let's go back here. Stops and conditions. We got the stop loss. Short 1. Short 2. From entry signal long 1. Signal name. Well, let's add a profit target just to see if we can get this going a little bit better. I don't know why that's not working yet. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. It should work. So let's go from long 1 ticks. We'll do 2-to-1 risk reward. We'll add another one. Set profit target. Short 1 ticks. 200. There we go. Compile. So it's kind of, sometimes you got to play around with it and make sure you did everything correctly. Alright, let's reload the Ninjascript here. That should get us, there we go. So now you can see it's hitting the profit target there with the parabolic stop. So you got your runner with the parabolic stop, and then you got your 2-to-1 risk reward. So if this hits, it'll cover the other positions So let's say this hits and this ended up coming back and hitting stop loss, you would still be profitable. Let's go performance, see how we did. So not the best strategy. We'll probably have to play around with it, maybe add a max loss or max profit per day. But this is kind of just showing you how you would create a strategy using the strategy builder and not having to actually code anything. You're just clicking a bunch of conditions basically. So you can add your indicators to the chart to see how everything's loading up. It could simply mean we need to use a different brick size, to be honest. So, and they might tell you what brick size to use in that strategy. So let's go ahead and add the 20. We'll make that green so we can tell it's the fast EMA. And let's add another EMA. We'll make that 50. We'll make that red for the slow EMA. Apply. And let me see if it tells us what brick we should use. I'm assuming it's telling us that we should just use whatever we normally use. Let's use a 60 brick and see if that makes a difference. So much more profitable on the 60 brick. We actually have a net profit over the last 10 days of $5,000 with a $4,000 drawdown. Looks like most of it came in 1.5 days. So made $6,000 on the 29th. And you know, with a system like this where you're having a parabolic stop, you could really really get away with that. So yeah, it looks like we're just not getting those crossovers that we would want for those exits. So maybe that condition is too tight for us to actually have it happen, because that wouldn't have even hit till like here. But you can play around with different brick sizes. You know, maybe it works better on certain other ones. We could try 100 brick. 100 brick was not profitable. We could try like a 25. Not profitable. Try 50. That's profitable. A little bit bigger drawdown. Looks like the 60 is going to be our sweet spot. And so if you wanted to play around with different profit targets and stuff like that, what you're going to want to do is go back in your code, add a variable which you're going to want to have as an input this time, and we're going to say long. We'll just say profit target. You could separate this by long and short, but we'll just put profit target 1. We'll make that a double. We're going to say default is 200 profit targets. Then you can go back into your stops and targets, and where we have this profit target, you're just going to edit that to value, and you're going to go for user variable, user input. You're going to put profit target, okay, profit target, okay. After we set that user input, okay, compile. Yeah, we could try Wicked Renko for sure. Another thing you can do then, now that we have user input on this, is we can minimize this. We can pull up an analyzer here, and we can find it in here. So we'll go Renko. I have so many strategies. EMA cross. And we'll go, we can optimize it now that we have a profit target. We can go 50, 500. We'll just do 50. We'll go on NQ. We'll just keep it on 60, and just for short time period. We'll just do the last like 3 weeks. Include commission. I always start with max net profit, and we will run this. So shouldn't take very long. Looks like we found only one thing that was profitable. Oh, I thought I selected NQ. There we go. There we go. So looks like using a 450 profit target is ideal here. If you wanted to get even more granular, we could pull back up the strategy builder, go to inputs here, and we could add a stop loss. Stop loss 1, double, we'll say that's 100, sets the stop. Then we can go back in the stops and finishes, and we can set the stop loss here to that variable, stop loss. Okay, change this one to stop loss. And then if you wanted to make the floor for the parabolic stop another input, you could do that. So we'll go PSAR floor, double, 100, again, sets the parabolic floor. So now we have the 3 different variables there. We'll go ahead and change this to that as well. That's going to be our value down here, is going to be the floor. Okay, now we'll have something that we can optimize it and see if we can make it a little better. Let's go ahead and compile it. And this will probably wrap up kind of the education part, and then we'll open it up to questions for you guys. So let's go ahead and go back into the analyzer. Now you can see we have profit target, stop loss, so we can 500 to 250, go 50, we'll go 100 to 450. So this is going to give us much more iterations, but let's run it and see if we get anything better. So hopefully it'll go pretty fast. Yep, we're good there. And look at that, we already have ourselves a much better strategy. You can look for minimum drawdowns, max drawdowns. So like we just created a strategy that has 13,000 in the last 3 weeks with a $4,000 drawdown. And you can see the summary here. And so we have a profitable strategy. Maybe it's not the best one right away, but you could play around with it, add and play around with some of the stuff if you want to play around with some of the exit conditions and things like that. But that is how that works. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions. You can either use your mics, or you can I add PSAR to the chat? Yeah, 1 second. So if we want to go to the chart here, you can see the trades. We can go to indicators. Now keep in mind the parabolic PSAR is not the same as a parabolic stop. It's a little different because it goes on the price, not under the price. So this will, I think we had it set up like this. So this will go on the chart like this, but the floor of it is going to be a little different. But you can see here, when we get this crossover, it ends here. It's going to be a little different because we set our floor with it, but that's what the parabolic curve looks like. You wanted to try it on Wicked Renko, we could try it on Wicked Renko. We can use 60, run that. We got ourselves a little bit better results. Wicked Renko is a little bit more directional, so that makes sense. Got ourselves, looks like $33,000 with a $3,000 drawdown. Simple profit factor of 3.3. You don't get the floor. Sure, I can explain that. So basically what you're doing on the chart, here, let's go back to here. So let's say, let me find a long, that's got a good parabolic stop. Yeah, right here. Oh, also, if you hit control, you can move your chart around. So let me find the curve arc. So parabolic stop is kind of doing this. The floor is going to be how many ticks below your entry the arc starts. So if you have a 0 floor, it's going to look like this. And that would have hit the next candle. If you have 100 ticks, you're going to be down like right here, and then it's just going to start accelerating. Think of it as like a squeezing stop. So the longer time goes on, or the more directional up you go, the faster the floor is going to accelerate. So it's like a curving trailing stop. Does that make sense? Hopefully that answered your question. Sure. Other questions you guys have? Did that make sense? How to use the strategy builder? Does that help you guys at all? Is there anything else you want me to show you? See some typing. So I use the built-in parabolic stop, but you could use a PSAR crossover as well for an exit. So for that, you would just have if close crosses above PSAR, exit short, or if it crosses below, exit long. So that would be a way to use the indicator as an exit, and you would do that in your conditions and actions right here. So instead of it being if market position long, cross below EMA would be cross below close of price and PSAR. And that would be a different way to use a parabolic exit, but not actually use a parabolic stop. So you could use a trailing stop or a regular target and stop, and then have that as an additional exit parameter if you wanted for the PSAR. So if we threw PSAR on here, I usually make it a little slower, otherwise it's a little fast, but this would have exited right here on this candle right here, instead of over here if you're using PSAR for an exit. But the other strategy I showed you, I talked to you guys about, is using this for entries actually. So you're entering long here, you're going short here, etc., etc. I'm glad that helped, Benjamin. I'm surprised you haven't used it before. I use it quite a bit actually. It may only be like if I'm wondering like how to access a plot. I don't want to dig through the code of an indicator to see how the plots are revealed. It's really nice to, for that specific application, be like, okay, I just want to do that. Or if you want to know how to exit by like a profit total, it's good to get the code for that. So for instance, if we went back in, this isn't it. Where did we go with the code here? Oh, I exit out of it. So if you want to get back into it, your code there, since we didn't unlock it, you can go find your strategy in here and pull it back up. And we can view the code from there. So this will show you like how to use the code for getting your unrealized loss like while in a trade. So